I want to get a little bit in front of this because at some point it's going to like come out, and I want to just step out and just let y'all know I'm a little embarrassed about this. I won't lie to y'all. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed, but I think it's high time that I just ultimately kind of just sort of come to grips with this because I feel like the best way to approach the problem is to first admit that there is a problem, or at least admit that I have or had a problem. With that being said, I used to be a fan of Kid Rock. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud. When I was young, when Kid Rock came out, uh, I don't know. A lot of the songs that he had was actually surprisingly like we didn't have enough. Well, I didn't have money to like buy like CDs and tapes and albums. So every track that I heard from him was something that was like being put on MTV at the time. By the way, R.I.P. to MTV. And there was some songs that he did back in the day that I thought were really intriguing back then. Not so much now. Not so much now. But back then, I like I said, I was a kid. I was young. It's definitely something that I like. That was definitely like something I thought I can get into. It also was because I was listening to rock music already. And I thought Kid Rock was like kind of like one of the with a name like Kid Rock, you thought, oh, he's definitely like one of the people that you should listen to. Like Kid Rock, to me, growing up back in the day, was I thought he was like in the same league as like Kiss and Slayer and things like that. Because once again, kid. I also didn't listen to Kiss and Slayer, but they had like a lot of pictures and posters of them that I thought that Kid Rock was kind of like in the same like avenue as those guys were, even though he was relatively new in comparison. So I also didn't know that he was like very much a culture vulture, if you know, if you can like call him that. Now you can call him that. And it was just like a lot that went into it that I just really like I wasn't really paying attention to until I like the older I got and the more he started like doing a lot more country songs, I was like, I was obviously I wasn't really a fan of country, so I'm just sitting there like I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. And as time went by, it automatically just sort of became a bit of a, that was kind of like the reason why I didn't really listen to him. Why I sort of like, I sort of fell out of, interest with him to some degree. That was it. With that being said, though, obviously as time went by, I did find myself ultimately saying stuff like, I didn't realize exactly how ridiculous he got until obviously when the Trump support started coming out, and I thought it was just bits and pieces of the Trump support because by that time I knew that he was very very much fascinated with being black and black people's culture. That in my brain I didn't think that he would be both a fascinated in black people's culture and b an outright you know Trump supporter. So when he came out as a Trump supporter, it sort of felt less like he became my least favorite genre of Trump supporter, which was my least favorite genre of Trump supporter is basically the unmelanated folks who act like black people, who act like what they think black people act like, and also seem to also love Trump in the process. I being from the South, I encounter people like that all the time. So it became really, really, really easy for me to just become less of a fan of his. With that being said, though, when I realized that there was things about him that I didn't like, I realized that I couldn't be a fan of this guy. I couldn't be like devoted to this guy. I couldn't be like into his record label or interested in what he did. It's a lot like the Ian Watkins thing, where like Ian Watkins kind of like made me lose hope in music entirely, you know, because I was a Lost Prophets fan until you find out what Ian Watkins actually went to jail for. By the way, rest in peace to Ian Watkins. It's just one of those things that like the reason why I'm talking about this or the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I feel like as a society we kind of feel the need to just sort of like be committed to certain things. Like it's like right or wrong, this thing like right or wrong, my love is strong for something that you know it's like devoted to. You know what I mean? Like I feel like as a society, some of us really feel like we need a devotion to something, and I'm here to tell you You don't have to be. I used to be a fan of. I used to be a fan of Kid Rock, Rob Schneider. You know, what was that other thing I just mentioned? Uh, Ian Watkins and Lost Prophets. Well, not necessarily Lost Prophets, but just Ian Watkins, because I feel like if one member of the band is a bad person, you don't blame the whole band for it. You know, the band just happened to be also playing the music. So I would say, but I was a fan of these people until I realized how they were outside of their music or outside of the thing that I was trying to make myself devoted to them for. And I realized this isn't somebody who I would want to be devoted to outside of the thing that I enjoy the most from them. It's like, you know, can I honestly say that I like somebody outside of the thing that they do that entertains me? And if not, then maybe I'm a normal person for not being a fan of theirs, even though, like, you know, the reason why I'm bringing this up though is ultimately because it just sort of made me think about that a little bit. Because I just found myself just saying to myself, I actually used to listen to some of Kid Rock's music as a kid. You know, and obviously I grew up and I realized I wasn't a fan. I used to watch a lot of Rob Schneider movies. Like, I actually liked Rob Schneider's movies. Like, The Animal, The Hot Chick, the Gigolo series. I even liked his cameos in the Adam Sandler films and the "You Can Do It" thing. I used to think that those were like a little hilarious back in the day. I used to think that these were things that I could, like, you know, I thought that they were very entertaining at the time because, once again, I was young. And then as time went by, I started paying attention to what he was saying, and, you know, like I said, the Trump support came in full force for that guy, and it dawned on me that while I do probably think that he is a funny guy and a talented actor, and I used to be so angry when, like, South Park actually, like, made jokes about him too. Like, that was like something that really kind of like messed me up. I used to always be upset about that, and like now I'm just like, I want nothing to do with that guy. I'm glad he's not making movies anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's just something to really like take into consideration because I'm sorry. Ugh. Something to really take into consideration because, like, when I think about it, it's like, you know, who I am back then and who I am now are two different people. And while I can say that there was something about the things that I enjoyed back then that I could, like, truly say that I appreciate, I don't have to necessarily use that thing that I appreciate to love somebody today who I know probably wouldn't love me back. And I kind of wish that everybody thought that way when it comes to certain things. Like, nostalgia is not a good feeling because it makes you deny any potential change that may have happened currently. It's like you can still enjoy stuff from back in the day, but you don't have to act like those things from back in the day are still relevant today. You know, things change. Everybody changes. Everybody, you know, or rather, everybody can stay the same, and you can realize that you're looking at a small part of a bigger picture. And all I'm saying is maybe look at the bigger picture. You can enjoy something and appreciate something for what it was, but you don't necessarily. That doesn't mean you have to adore it and be devoted to it to what it is today. I hope I'm making sense. I really hope I'm making sense. In any case, love and peace to every single one of y'all out there, and I might go live later. I'm not sure.